Okay, so, and I just need to, got it. Okay, here I am. Welcome everybody. As I said before, I'm Jacki. I'm from Thermi-Central. I'm a Thermomix consultant, have been for about 3 years, and I've had my Thermomix for about 5 or so years, which I love, which is why I became a Thermomix consultant. I also work full time, so this baby, really changed the way we cooked for our family and prepared, and what we bought, what we purchased. Today, it's all about Christmas. And some of you might be thinking, it's not even like the end of October. We haven't even had a Halloween. And this crazy woman is banging on about Christmas already. So the reason and the method in my madness is just this. Christmas stock is starting to go out into stores. And there's lots of people that like to give gifts. And when things pop up, they often disappear as quickly as the shelves are filled. So I thought by being super early and letting you all know and giving you some tips and tricks early on, you'll be able to stockpile some of the bits and pieces if you're wanting to do Thermomix gifts or gifts, homemade gifts. And I will be going through some packaging ideas, and I'll also be telling you about some labelling ideas also. Yeah, so sorry, I'm very overwhelmed. This is the first time I've done this by myself. So please forgive the total and utter clunkiness that the next hour no doubt will bring. So again, I'd like to introduce everybody to Tess Murray. She is Thermo-Tess and she is my team leader. She will be taking care of the chat box and she will be letting people in and out of the waiting room. If you've got any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat box and Tess will either answer them or she will come off mute and she will ask me and I'll be able to answer you on camera. So here we go. Basically, I'm a lover of Christmas. I'm a giver and I love my Thermi. So I'm always looking for cute and quirky and inexpensive ways of being able to gift things. And what better than cookies? Who doesn't love cookies? Sweet cookies, savoury cookies. We're even going to do some dog bickies today. Or I've prepared some dog biscuits today. So nobody misses out here. You can actually customize a lot of the recipes that we're doing today for like gluten-free or intolerances. Yeah, and Cookie Do is an absolute fabulous resource. The majority of the recipes I'm doing today, well, actually all of the ones that I'm cooking live today are from Cookie Do, but we've also got the recipe community, which I've made some things from. Yeah, so I think I might just get started and I'll kind of ramble on, I guess, as we go through. And I think we've got Ruby and Evie who are going to cook along today. I sent them the ingredients list yesterday. I think Ruby's 11 and I think Evie may be 8 or 9. Correct me if I'm wrong, girls. Feel free to come off mute or pop it into the chat box.
I'm actually 8, turning 9, and Ruby's 11, which is correct.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And how good are you in front of the camera? Awesome. These girls are Thermomix ninjas. I'm pretty sure since they've been able to read, they've been cooking with their Thermomix. Or with Mum's Thermomix. That's if it is Mum's Thermomix anymore. It's probably not. So, yeah, look, if kids can do it, anybody can do it really. And I know most of you have probably already got Thermomixes. So let's get started. So I am going to sort of pop off screen slightly and come over to the Thermomix. So first of all,
excuse me, Jax.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Ruby and Evie if they're happy if at times throughout the presentation if I spotlight them so that everyone can see what they're doing. Are you okay with that, girls?
Yes.
Probably more to the point, is your mum okay with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. You are very good sports. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So I have actually saved in my Thermomix a Cookie Do collection. So with Cookie Do, it's kind of like the Netflix of the Thermomix, basically. Lots of recipes from all around the world. They're going to pop up on my screen and they're going to guide me step by step. So I don't need to think. If the phone rings, I don't need to run away. I don't need to worry about it. It's going to stop and stay. That's a siren on my end, guys. That means I think there's fires happening here. Hopefully it's not too loud. So I'm going to go into my saved collection. So into my recipes. I'm not sure how well you can see my screen. The setup's a little bit crazy today, but created collections, and I am going to go down to Christmas cookie creations. And then I'm going to select the mixed spice. And it comes up on the screen, simple as start cooking. So again, to save time, I've actually sort of measured all of the spices and so forth. So I'll read what's going in, but I'll just show you here on the screen. There we go. So there's some cinnamon quills. We've got some star anise, some whole cloves, some ginger, some allspice berries. So basically it's asking for 3 cinnamon quills, 3 star anise, 1 tablespoon of ground allspice. I'm actually using allspice berries. 1 teaspoon of whole black peppercorns, 1 teaspoon of whole cloves, 3/4 of a teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of caraway seeds, 3 teaspoons of ground nutmeg, 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2.5 teaspoons of ground cardamom, and then basically pop them all into the bowl. Now, a little trick when you're milling spices is you can use your steamer basket just to pop it in on the top to try and eliminate some of that beautiful aromatic dust. Basically going to hit next, and it wants me to mill it for 1 minute on speed 9. Now, this is a scenario where the Thermomix is probably going to cut out and you're not going to hear me for a minute or so. So Tess, if you've got anything you'd like to let people know, that would be great.
Hey everyone, I was just checking that everyone can see Jacki's 2 screens. If you can't, perhaps go to the view button, which should be on the top right-hand side of your screen, and click on the drop-down box and select gallery view. And you should have both Jacki's screens highlighted as a spotlight. So hopefully that helps someone. If anyone else needs help, feel free to message me. So where are we all tuning in from today? If you could just select the chat box down the bottom and just type in where you're tuning in from, and we'll see how far and wide we spread. That would be awesome. Kyton, gee, you've come such a long way, Kelly. Fantastic. So we have got Kyton, Tavrelgan, Morty Alec, Tachira, Gold Coast. Well, I think you're winning so far. Eltham North, Toowoomba, and Costerville. I don't even know where that is.
Near Heathcote. That must be Sharon.
Sharon, you are correct.
Oh, hello. Lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Now, I've actually made a little bit of a mess here.
Hello, Sharon.
So I'm just going to take that out for a moment. And that wasn't my greatest moment because it's all jumped up over my lid. So as you do in the Thermomix kitchen, you improvise. We're going to pop that back in. If you could smell these amazing spices, seriously, it smells like Christmas in here. It's amazing. We've made a right royal mess, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to leave it out this time. So it's done half of its milk, and I'm going to hit next. It's going to want me to scrape down the sides and repeat the process. So it'll be another minute of nothing from me. Next. And around to 9 again.
So we've also got some Joanne from the Central Coast. Those of you who've just joined, we had about 4 more come in. If you could just let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much. Jackie will be back in just a minute. Her machine's cut out the noise because she is milling those beautiful spices for her Christmas spice mix. New Zealand, whoa, you're the winner now. That's Donna Blythe. Craigie Band, hello Sarah, how are you? Another one from Kyton. Well, word has passed around, my friend. You're international now, Jax.
I know, I'm feeling a bit special now.
Oh,
welcome. Welcome. Rightio, we have got a beautiful mixed spice and it smells incredible. Really, really lovely. So I've just got a cute little jar here. You see down onto my thermomat just slightly. And I'm just going to put the lid on top of the jar and use that so that it doesn't go everywhere again. That's a really, really great way. This is also good if you're doing jams or your veggie stock paste because you're already going to wash your lid. So you may as well, if you save your bench tops or an extra dish or whatever. Now, because I'm lazy, I'm actually not going to clean that bowl because we're going to make gingerbread now and we're going to use some of that mixed spice. So I'm just going to leave that in there. You don't have to clean, then don't clean, that's what I say. Rightio. So, and then we've got this beautiful little jar full of mixed spice. So these little jars here are the lemon and lime brand that you can find at some of the discount stores. I think I paid about $6 and you get 4 of them. They're really lovely. They're quilted. So often I put my spice rubs and things like that in there. So don't worry about taking notes or anything for this because I will actually pop all of this information into my resource guide and tell you where I got everything and the costs if I can remember them. Okay, so Ruby and Evie, are you ready to move on to the gingerbread? Yes, the best. You guys will be able to decorate for days. Rightio. So all we need to do now is get out of that recipe and jump straight into the next one. So back into my recipes, into my created collections. And that's a great thing with Cookie Do. You can actually save your favorite recipes. You can save it for cocktail night, or if you've got favorite curries or soups or cakes or breads, you can actually separate them into all different categories. So that's a really great feature. I've really got mixed spice everywhere here today, haven't I? I hope you girls are doing better than me when it comes to not making a giant mess. Okay, let's do it. So start cooking. So I want you to preheat the oven and to line a couple of baking trays with some baking paper and set them aside. Then we're going to pop in 300 grams of plain flour. So I'll pop that in. Now, the great thing with the TM6 is it counts up in 1 gram increments, the scales. Opposed to some of you that may have a TM5, which is in the 5 grams. So it's really quite precise. Oh, goodness me, I'm really making a mess today. Sorry, guys. Told you I was going to be super clunky. Super, super clunky. Okay, let's go next. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of ground ginger. In they go. We are putting in 1 teaspoon of mixed spice. Now, because I've left a little bit in the bowl, I'm just going to pop in just a little tiny bit extra.
Excuse me, Jackie.
Yes.
Ruby and Evie would like to know, what do they preheat the oven to?
Oh, very sorry. I'm pretty sure it's 180 degrees. Let me click back. That's another great thing with it on the screen. Yes, preheat oven to 180 degrees. Thanks, girls, for keeping me in line. Okay. All right, so then we've got 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda. Here, pop that in. 1 teaspoon. And then we're going to 100 grams of brown sugar. So pop that in. Next. 150 grams of golden syrup. Now, you can make your own golden syrup in the Thermomix. It's literally water, sugar, and you pop in a slice of lemon and cook it for a while. Today, I'm just using supermarket. I pick my poison. Some days I feel like making everything, and other days I'll just do what's easiest for me. But you can make it. So 150 grams, girls. There we go, nearly there. And the bottle's nearly empty too. Almost perfect. Rightio, there we go. Next up, 150 grams of butter. And I'll just cut that into cubes. Rightio. And what is next? Pinch of salt. Don't have salt. Next. Yes, I do. Pinch. And 1 egg yolk. Now, ordinarily we'd make the royal icing with this as well, which utilizes the egg white. I'm not going to do that today because I've pre-baked, but Rubes and Evie, if you two would like to, you can do that next, okay? So I'm going to hit next, pop the lid on, pop in the measuring cup. Next again, and we're going for 12 seconds on speed 6.
I just typed in the chat there, if you're a huge ginger fan like I am, like I'm crazy for ginger, I often double the ginger in this recipe and it makes them really quite spicy. Personal preference though.
On the same token, you could actually reduce the ginger a little bit as well. If your kids, you know, want something more of a subtle flavour, you can put in a little bit less of the ginger perhaps and a little bit extra of the mixed spice. Being yum. Rightio. Next. So after that 12 seconds, that's where we're at for those of you that don't have a Thermomix. And it even is telling me to scrape down the sides. Gingerbread is truly one of the easiest recipes. And it's yummy. Perfect for this time of year. Only takes a couple of minutes to cook as well, like 8 to 10 minutes usually. And the great thing about it is you can actually freeze it as well. It's one of those recipes that freezes brilliantly. Okay, now we're going to do 50 seconds and we've got turning it on to dough mode.
For those who've just joined us a little bit late, you will be sent a recording as long as you have registered for the event. And you can play catch up with what the first 10, 15 minutes was all about. If you don't mind, maybe just popping in the chat where you're tuning in from. We're running a little poll here to see how far and wide Jax's posts are reaching. So far, New Zealand is the winner. Let's see if you can beat that.
Rightio, let's have a look. There we go, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, it smells divine as well. My whole house smells divine because I've been Christmas cookie baking for a couple of days. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tick that out, and I'll just put some baking paper down on top of my thermomat. Not for any other reason apart from the fact I am incredibly lazy. So it actually makes for rolling things out much easier. So to help get the dough off, if you just give the star on the bottom of your blades a bit of a wiggle, and out it comes. That's the majority of it gone. And we'll just scrape out the rest. Now, the Thermomix, the TM6 has, and the TM5 does now as well, if you've got a cookie, a pre-clean mode. So even though this is a dough, I would actually set this one to fats and caramel just because I put golden syrup in there. It'll give it a really good clean and you don't have to wash it again. See, lazy, my favorite thing. All right, so I'm going to just move that out of the way. Can you see what I'm doing here?
There is a question, sorry, Jax.
Sure.
If freezing the dough, what do you need to do then to use it?
Okay, so great question. Here's a little something I prepared earlier. So all I've done is I have rolled it, which I'll show you in a second. I've rolled it into a log. You can either wrap it in Glad wrap. I actually like to wrap it in baking paper first, and then I put Glad wrap around it, nice and tight, and then I'll pop it into like an airtight container in the freezer. It's really important that you make sure that it's well wrapped so that you're not getting any freezer bite. And then when you're ready to use it, you can just take it out of the fridge or freezer and just either put it into the fridge from the freezer overnight, or just pop it onto your bench to defrost for a couple of hours. And then it's actually really easy to work with again. So I'll often have this time of year in the fridge or freezer. If we're going out somewhere, if I've got to do a quick little gift, if something popped up that I hadn't been expecting, then home-baked cookies, who wouldn't want them, right? So this is the dough. Just put it into a nice, beautiful, have a look at that. So easy. Rightio. So with my little dough cutter, I just cut that into half and I'll pop that side aside. Now I wanted to show you one of my first little packaging hacks. So it is gingerbread bonbons or cookie dough bonbons. So all I'm doing is rolling this along. You could actually use your Thermomat, fold it over. That's probably better if you're giving it to people so you don't have, fingers. Rolled it out to the log size like that. Then I just wrap it into my baking paper until, ta-da, it looks like this. Wow, look at that, you guys say. Magic of, I don't know, the magic of me. So to get a bonbon, here's one that I prepared a little earlier. How cute is this? Could you guys see that? So all I've done here is I've cut some calico to size and wrapped it up. So let me show you quickly how I did it. So I've got my gingerbread dough that's been refrigerated. I have just bought plum pudding calico rolls for $3.50 at Spotlight, and I've cut that to size. Ruby and Evie, you girls can start shaping and baking now, yeah? Beautiful. I can see you doing a good job there. Okay, so all I do here now is just roll up, put it into the center, and I'm rolling it up like so. Simple. Now, I have got at, I don't know, Woolworths, the chemist, you can get these little poly-elastic bands. They're like little plastic rubber band thingies, which are awesome for making gifts with. So all we are is scrunching that up at the end, tying it off, And doing the same at the other end. Twist it, tie it. The downside is they're so little, you actually lose them so easily if you're blind as a bat like me. So a couple times around, and there we go. We've got a little bonbon. But if you want to go next level, all I've done is cut a square of, it's actually wrapping paper, and it matches my gift box, which is a bit special. And then I do the same, just roll this around and put some sticky tape onto this. And then you can put like a label or whatever, some cooking instructions, depends. Now you could gift that just like that. You can pop some ribbons. These are just from the homewares, the cheaper shop in Kyneton. So some of those discount variety stores have got their Christmas ribbons out. This is a really cute one. It's got little gingerbread men on it. Just tie up your bow. And seriously, within a couple of minutes, you look like you've put so much thought into Rhonda's Christmas present, who's just got out of lockdown and she's come to visit you. And you're like, look what I've made. You knew she was coming. She was 15 minutes away. And within that, cute little bonbon. There we go. So it's as simple as that. Now, gingerbread. So I'll show you this box close up. And I thought this is a really cute little gift idea. So I have made a little gingerbread gift box. I'm not sure if is it better from that camera angle or is it over here maybe? So you can see the whole lot. So in my little treasure box, you've got a gingerbread bonbon, a little sort of cluster of cookie cutters. I've got a little example, and I've just made that gingerbread man, popped a little bit of royal icing onto it, stuck it on the front of a Christmas card, and then put the baking instructions on the back. So that's a really simple, quick and easy option. And not to forget, a gorgeous little rolling pin and some M&Ms and some sprinkles in Christmas colours. So simple as that. How cute. Ruby and Evie, would you like to get a cute little gift box like that? Yeah, to make it Christmas? Perfect. Excellent. So that's just how easy it is to make gingerbread. Now, I've also, everything is strategically placed here. It's like a Jenga.
Just while you're getting sorted, Jax, we've got some comments coming. Megan says it looks awesome, Jackie, and Donna says, oh my God, that's awesome. And I think it looks awesome too, coming from someone who's not very creative.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad. It's actually a really easy, one of those really easy, easy recipe in Cookie Do to start off with. But how easy is it? And really inexpensive. Just a couple of bits and pieces, some wrapping paper. Could be any kind of material. I've actually made little versions, and I've used some Christmas fabric from Spotlight. And inside these are flavoured cookie doughs. So this is actually the best chocolate chip recipe from the recipe community. These 4 bonbons, well, these will be bonbons, from one batch. And what I do usually is I make the cookie dough, and then I set it up on my Thermomat, and I divide it into 4 or 5 or however many I want to make. And then I mix the toppings up. So one of them's got M&Ms, one of them's got caramel buds, one of them's chocolate chip, and the other one is choc chip and, oh my goodness, the Reese's peanut butter choc chips. Amazeballs. So, and they're just simply wrapped up. Calico or material, a little bit of ribbon on the end, and that's a really cute present. So you can label it, put the ingredients on there as well. particularly if you don't know the family or the children or the teacher that you're giving it to. It's really important to keep the ingredients on there in case there's any allergies. So yeah, so that's a quick and easy decorating tip for gingerbread. One more, and these have been going around Facebook gift sites and things for a few years, but you can see that there. It's like a cute little Christmas tree made of gingerbread stars. You could make this out of shortbread as well if you wanted to. So all it is, I'm just going to quickly show you how to assemble. So first and foremost, you need to find yourself a canister. Now, these were $4 from Kmart. They're a bit trickier to get these days, a bit few and far between, but Decor, IKEA, a few of those places sell them as well. And they're cute because you're repurposing, you're turning them over, making them look like a little snow dome. What you need to do is, and these cookie cutters here, these are just from Kmart, but the Mix Shop has a really beautiful rose gold set where you can make like a really tall star tree. It's really impressive. First thing you need to do is you need to make sure that your star fits onto the base of your canister, because if it's too big, obviously the lid's not going to go on and you're going to end up with a manky tree. So that's really important. Ruby and Evie will probably be doing the royal icing. Oh look, snap, Ruby, you've got the same ones. Excellent. So quick and easy, if you had the royal icing made, which the girls will do, but I am not making today, you just put a little dab onto the bottom here, put your first cookie on, then put another dab here in the center. So you want to do 2 of each size, okay? And then you just do it off center. So wherever your first star was, you make sure the point of your next star is in the middle of the previous one, okay? And then you get the next size and you're just continuing that, little bit of icing to stick it all the way to the top. And again, and again, all the way to the top. Now you could choose at this point whether you have a star stand up, which looks really pretty. So if you have it kind of like that way, I can tell you with the Kmart ones, it doesn't work because there's not enough height in the lid. But I have seen the Decor and the IKEA versions of this canister, and they seem to be a little bit higher. So you may be able to get away with that. Simple as that. Then you can just come along with a little dab of royal icing. You can use the little balls that, you know, I'm not sure what they're called, cabochon balls or something. Something. Someone out there might know.
So cute, Jackie. I would be so rapt to get one of those. Hint, hint.
Wow, just so happen to have a couple ready. And you can actually use little mini M&Ms, or you could use little mini Smarties, chocolate chips. You could just put some sprinkles on there. You could leave it as is and just sprinkle with some icing sugar. So that's another really quick and simple, cute Christmas idea. And I've popped these into hampers and things the last few years, and they've been really, really well received. So, yeah, nice and easy. I will pop that aside. How are you girls going? Good. We've got the thumbs up. Got cookie dough in our hands. They're like a well-oiled machine, these two girls. Love it. Rightio. I am going to pop the rest of this dough aside and move on to our next recipe, which is the red and green shortbread. Now, it would be silly of me not to let everybody know of the best damn Thermomix offer ever in the history of Thermomix offers that's currently running. So from now until, Tess, what's the date? The
2nd of December, but it's until stocks last.
Yeah, so from now until the 2nd of December, but it won't last. If you purchase a TM6 for $2,359, you can add on a Thermomix bowl for $29. That's insane. They're usually $375. I'm looking at a few faces on the screen now wishing that this deal was around not so long ago when they got their Thermomix. It's the best deal. I tell you what, it's the best deal. You can never have too many bowls. Having a second bowl is almost as good as having a second Thermomix, to be honest, particularly if you've forgotten to do a step in between, or if you're lazy like me and you don't want to wash all the time, you can just pop it into the dishwasher at the end of the night, or do your pre-cleanse, of course. So that's the offer at the moment. And running alongside that offer, they've got 36 months interest-free finance with Zip. So you can have a Thermomix on your bench now without dipping into your holiday or your Christmas funds for like $17, approximately $17 a week, which is like less than a cup of coffee a day. It might be a way. I bought my first Thermomix with interest-free while I was going on a nice big holiday and didn't want to commit that amount of money to start off with. So then, you can pay extra bits off along the way. So it's a really easy way, I guess, or a good way of not committing a whole heap of cash, but actually being able to utilise the Thermomix before Christmas. And speaking of, if this is something that, and this is as salesy as this little event will get, if this is something that you've been considering for yourself or for a friend or for, you all wanted to chip in and buy mum one for Christmas, please do so sooner rather than later. The bowls will sell out before that date, I'm sure of it. And not only that though too, there's real courier and postage delays at present. That's both locally and internationally for all industries. So if deliveries are taking slightly longer than usual, so I wouldn't want anybody to miss out. So please just keep that in mind. And without further ado, I'm going to get on with the next dish. Ruby and Evie, do we want to check in with you girls and just see how you're travelling?
We're going great. We've done 2 trays of cookies. We've done stuff and little gingerbread men stockings and trees.
Awesome. And they'll be ready to eat really, really soon, won't they?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Is Dad
how long till you get your license?
Yeah.
We might have to stick an apron on them, Jackson, recruit them.
Uber Eats by Ruby and Evie. That sounds awesome to me. Awesome to me. I'm not sure if I showed you guys this one as well with the gingerbread. As I said, it's just a Christmas card, nice little thing. This is kind of like a great present for if you're a teacher with your classmates, or if you've got a big workplace, like there's no nuts or anything in there. So unless there's gluten intolerances, it's actually quite a nice gift. You can actually leave the chocolate and the icing off as well. And that way you can be sure, or can be surer that it's actually not going to affect anybody in a negative way. All right, I'm going to move on to the red and green shortbread. So let me grab tray number 2. Now, again, is there any questions, Tess? Anything anybody wants to know? No? All good?
No. I was just congratulating Ruby and Evie in the chat because I reckon they're doing an awesome job. And Sangria is really loving all your ideas. Keep them coming.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now, one thing that I use my Thermomix for often, and you will have seen with the Christmas spice, the milling. So I just wanted to show you up close. Now, forgive the colour of the jars because when I became a consultant, I made these up then. So they're a little bit, but this is rice here in this little jar. And can you see how fine? I don't know if you can see quite very well how fine that is there. Okay, because for Christmas shortbreads, usually you need rice flour. And the only time I can remember ever using rice flour is for Christmas shortbreads at Christmas. So why would you buy a box, have it sit there just to throw it out the year after? So you can mill your own, which is what we'll be doing in this recipe. And also like almonds with your almond meal. So you can just mill down what you need, which is another fabulous reason to have a second bowl, because if you forget about that step when you start cooking, you can always put the other one on. Rightio. So we are going to find our, oops, the days. Go back in and find the shortbread in my created collections. And you can just scroll down on the screen, as you can see. And we are going for the red and green shortbread. Start cooking. Okay, so Ruby and Evie, are you girls making this one? No? No, okay, cool. I won't tell you then that you need to preheat your oven to 150 degrees. And we're also going to prepare a 30 by 40 centimetre baking tray with some paper and set aside. Or you could use these beautiful rose gold baking trays. In the mix shop, they've actually got the custom sized silicone baking mats in them as well. And that comes from small through to medium, large and extra large. So if you're after some new baking trays for Christmas or for the kitchen, they're really good quality, but nice, and they come with a cooling rack as well, like so the same size. So whatever fits on your tray is obviously going to fit on your cooling rack and on your silicone baking tray. So that might be a handy gift for somebody. Okay, so it's asking us to pop in 40 grams of rice, but I know that the next step is going to ask for 60 grams of raw sugar. So I've just got both of those in the bowl there and skipped a step. Okay, so we'll hit next. Now, Tess, this is going to be another one where I'm going to be milling, so I'm going to go quiet for a couple of minutes, for 1 minute, in fact, and I'm taking that to speed 10, which is the highest speed we have.
No worries. Thanks, Jackie. So we've got 25 people on. I would love to hear what your favourite recipe in the recipe community is. I'm happy to share probably my favourite recipe from the recipe community. That is really naughty. It's the KFC or Kentucky Fried Chicken that is put on there by the Road to Loving My Thermomix. I made this for my family, oh gosh, a few months ago now, and they wanted it every week. There's a bit of dust coming out. The Thermomix is quite okay. This is just the power of the blades, and the milling function is quite incredible, creating that beautiful fine dust. So honeycomb on cookie dough. The Sara Lee banana cake, I must try that. Yes, fudge is a great gift idea, definitely. But if you haven't tried it before, the KFC chicken by the Road to Loving My Thermomix, that will be the first edition I put on when we get the next update on cookie dough, which Jackie will tell you about at some stage.
Yes, I will. I'm actually, do I look kind of like I'm concocting some kind of evil spell at the moment? So on speed 10, the blades are rotating at 10,700 RPMs, which is essentially like a small plane taking off, which is why it's so loud and you can't hear me. But it also is why we can mill sugar. So we've just turned this into rice flour and icing sugar. Can you see that there? So that's a minute. And I think that was one of the first things that really impressed me when I went to my very first demo. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So you can essentially have one type of sugar in your pantry and mill it down to caster sugar or icing sugar. The only time really throughout the year that I would use caster sugar, bought like purchased from the store, is if I was decorating and I wanted my icing to be super white. With the raw sugar, it doesn't go like a really crisp bleached white, which essentially is what white sugar is. That would be the only time of the year that I buy it. Otherwise, we buy like a big 2 kilo bag, keep it in the cupboard and mill down to whatever I need it for. Rightio. So hit next on that one.
Jackie, we've had another question come through from Sonia. Must it be white rice?
I don't know 100%, but I wouldn't think so. The power of the Thermomix blades, they mill anything, and as they would mill brown rice quite easily.
Just might change the texture.
Yeah, I've not tried it in my Thermomix before, but seriously, you're using 40 grams of rice. So if you had a spare 40 grams at home, give it a whirl. Shortbread without the cranberries and pistachios is actually a really economical recipe. It's essentially butter, sugar, flour, bit of rice flour. That's pretty much it. Maybe a little bit of salt. So I'd give it a whirl. And if you do, I'd love to hear how it went, because yeah, that'd be really interesting, really interesting. But sorry, I'm not much more help there. Okay, so now
that's all right. Ruby is making a gingerbread clock, so I might bring her back on.
Cool. Well, deep in concentration.
Isn't she?
I love it. I love it. How awesome. If you've got grandkids or little ones, this time of year is a really great time to get them in the kitchen. They can make their own classmates and Christmas gifts, like something simple like the gingerbread man, or some yo-yos or some shortbread. Gorgeous. Okay, so 300 grams of flour. My son is calling me. Sorry, have I got you all there?
Yep, you're back.
I'm back. Rightio. So I'm going to hit next. And we've got 250 grams of butter cut into cubes. Now, I've gone through a lot of butter in the last few days. And that's quite cold. You want it for your shortbread too. So, and the colder it is, it's actually the easier to work with when you're ready to make it into shapes and so forth. And hit next. Pop the lid on. Oh, goodness me. Messy, messy, messy. And we're going to go 5 seconds on speed 5.
I'm sure we all know messy cooks are great cooks. I'm a messy cook too.
I probably shouldn't
Ruby's agreeing.
Probably shouldn't be playing with flour and a black dress.
So Ruby, we've had a request that can you please show us your creations as you make them? Hold them up for the camera. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Rightio. So now we're going to, I'll show you what that did. Pretty much just mixed up the butter and the sugar together. And then I'm going to put it onto dough mode for 40 seconds, which is basically alternating the blades at interval speed. And it's going to save a whole lot of working out. So 40 seconds.
Heather says they're fantastic, Ruby. They're better than hers. Oh, look at that smile. Heather, you've made her day. Megan said the same. They look great.
Seconds.
So now that we've all popped on our favorite recipe community recipe, what's your favorite cookie dough recipe? Please type it in the chat box. Doesn't have to be Christmassy, it can be anything.
And while you guys are doing that, check that out. It's ready. It is ready. So I'm going to hit next. And so if I didn't want to put the pistachios or the cranberries in at this stage, you've just got shortbread. So, but I am. So we've got 100 grams. Now you don't have to use pistachios if you don't wish. You don't have to use cranberries. You could use almonds and raisins. You could not use any flavoring at all. You could just put fruit in there. pick your poison. Now we're going to do this on turbo a few times just to get a good consistency with these. So I'll pop it next. It's going to be loud again. So it says to do it 3 to 4 times.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. It says to do it 3 to 4 times, which I've done. And I'll hit next and have a look and see if I'm happy with that. So that's not too bad. I might just give it a couple more goes. So I can actually step back now and lock the arms back on because that's a safety feature of turbo. And
Ruby, you've absolutely put me to shame. Ricotta donuts with lemon curd, they sound fantastic. I have not made those yet. Good on you.
my goodness. Do you know that
And
my 18-year-old...
She's amazing. And Sharon is making Russian salmon pie for dinner tonight. That sounds delicious. I haven't made that either.
Fancy.
There's a reason why we ask these questions through through our classes, is so we can get new ideas of what's yummy.
Absolutely. And because we're consultants, it doesn't mean that we are across all of the new collections from everywhere in the world. So sometimes you just stumble across recipes. I made a prawn arrabbiata or something fancy like that the other day, which had chorizo and like a tomato chili sauce. Never seen it before in my life. Takes less than half an hour on the table. Amazing. Absolutely delicious. Rightio. So this is the dough all ready to go. I'm going to move my tray out of the way. And that's how quick and easy it is to cook shortbread. So all of these recipes that I'm doing today are recipes that are really quick and simple to make, and then you can just package them differently, present them differently. So I'm actually going to pop down some baking paper. And again, tip that out. Give it a little wiggle just to loosen it up. And look at that. That's like pretty much all come out, and the bowl's pretty good. Pretty good. And now you just want to get your hands in there and bring it together. Right, so it's a big, I cannot tell you how amazing this feels. So that's just how quickly it comes together. As I did before, we're going to make it into a log. But I won't do that here. I'll show you a log that I've already got. Put that to the side. And here is one that I prepared a little earlier. So I made these last night. This is half a batch. So the batch that I just made then, we'll make 2 of these sized. Into the fridge, you put it in there for at least an hour or so because you want it to be really chilled. The thing with shortbread, and with lots of cookies actually, the colder the cookie dough, the less the spread. So if you wanted to make something like, I don't know, loaded cookies, they're all the rage at the moment. Have you seen those where people like make cookie dough and put like Tim Tams in the middle, or Freddo Frogs or Mars bars or whatever, and you have this bundle? So what you need to do after you make that is put that little ball into the freezer or the fridge and make it really, really cold, because then when you bake it, it's not all going to spread out like a giant, enormous cookie. It will stay contained. So that's a little trick. And if you're making things like jam drop biscuits and things like that, pop your dough into the fridge, get it nice and cold, and that way they'll come out beautifully. So I've just popped a board onto my thermo mat because it is silicone. This is actually a host reward if anybody's interested in holding a cooking experience. This is one of the amazing rewards. And the new thermo mat, I'm not sure if you can see properly from here. I'll show you a bit later. It's got the round circles on it, so you've got an idea for sizes. It's also got a ruler down either side as well. So if it tells you to, I don't know, roll your pastry out 30 by 40 centimetres, you've got that guide, which is awesome. But you can't use a knife on it. Never use a knife. So use something like this. plastic little dough cutter. And then just slide down. Simple as that.
They're called green scrapers in the mix shop if you're looking for them. I don't know why, bowl scrapers or something they're called. I've never used it to scrape my bowl. But anyway.
Either have I. But I love
Jacki, we've
them.
had a random question pop up and I thought you might like to answer it so everyone can hear.
Okay.
Donna has asked, what's the best way to store extra pizza dough?
Extra pizza dough. Well, there's a couple of ways you could do that as well. So you can keep it in the fridge, depending on how soon you want to use it. You could roll it out and actually par bake it as well, so that they're in the freezer ready and you can bring them out. Do you freeze yours fresh as well, Tess?
Yeah,
We
so I
never
just make
actually-
it's so quick. I just make it fresh, I have to say. But you can actually roll it into a ball and freeze it before it's cooked and then just pull it out of the freezer. But you do need to let it totally defrost and do the proof again if you want a thick and fluffy pizza. Otherwise, just once it's defrosted, roll it out and cook it as you normally would.
And to be honest,
You can also store it in the fridge for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes 3 minutes to make pizza dough. So I just tend to make it fresh. And as a matter of fact, that's what we're having for dinner tonight. I quickly whipped up the pizza dough while Jacki was sorting out our cameras, and yeah, so easy.
and to be honest as well, my family, like one batch of pizza dough, there would not be any left over. And if there was, I actually turn it into scrolls or to like pull aparts and things like that. The pizza dough is really, really versatile. So if there was left over, I turn it into like a cheese and bacon kind of scroll, or you could turn it into a little pizza. You could turn it into cheesy mite scrolls. Yeah, they're not quite as bready, but they're super delicious. Super delicious.
They are fantastic, and that's exactly what I've done, Jax. I did two batches. So one will be for 2 pizzas for the kids and Andy tonight, and the other one I'll make into scrolls for school lunches tomorrow.
Perfect. I'm not going to move any further with this, but I just wanted to show you, because I left in this batch, this is the batch I made this morning, my pistachios were quite big. So cutting it with a knife, often, you'll get a big bit of pistachio fall out of one and drop onto the thing. So you can just get it into your hands and rework it. So that would just go into the oven now, I think for about 20 minutes. Obviously not right now, but it will go in there later. The other thing with that shortbread dough, you can freeze it. Shortbread, chocolate chip cookie doughs, gingerbread, snickerdoodle dough, all those sorts of doughs that are like quite buttery, freeze really well. I wouldn't be freezing like macarons or something like that. And I'm not 100% sure on oaty kind of Anzac biscuit ones. I assume that they'll actually freeze quite well, but I've not done it myself. So again, you can have that in the freezer. You can break off what you need, pop it in the oven, and it's all good and ready to go. So now it's time to show you those things that I, made a little earlier. So the shortbread doughs, the next step on that one is to grate some white chocolate and melt it in your Thermomix. And once you melt it, you dip them. So this is a cute little way to package. This little box is it's called a cookie box. It's from a company called Wholesale Catering Supplies. They're online and you get the delivery within about 7 days. I ordered a whole heap of different size boxes and some grazing boxes and things like that. They were super quick. I think this one cost 90 cents or something like that. And all I've done is pop the cookies in there. I've just used a bit of curling ribbon, which I bought from Big W. They've got some really beautiful colours there at the moment. And this little decoration is just called a present topper. And they were $3 and it came in a pair. So that's from Big W. And that's a cute, quirky little gift. Also, I have made, do you remember the cookie boxes that you used to get, mum and dad used to get one sent home from work, or they were beautiful boxes and they had the little cupcake patty cans and all the different shaped shortbreads and stuff in there. I'm sure everybody had seen them one time or another throughout their childhood. Well, I decided I might make something kind of similar, because you can use the one batch of shortbread for different styles of cookies. And then you can present them like this. So this cookie tin, I think was about $4 from the reject shop. This is a nice square one. So it's quite pretty, very simple. And all I've done here, I just scrolling, can you all see it there? That's a good picture. So tips
I
and
love
tricks.
that idea.
It's just so easy, and you can actually create all of your cookies, and you can use different size tins as well, or you could use boxes, or you could pop them into little bags. So I'm just going to give you a rundown on what I did with what. So these ones here, these little star cookies, cute. They're like a double layer. So that was just a shortbread batch. I stamped out the size twice, and then just got the smaller cookie cutter and took the inside of it out. Baked them, plonked some homemade raspberry and vanilla jam in the middle, and put them together. And they're like a really cute centerpiece to your box. With the same cookie dough, I've just done some traditional kind of shaped shortbreads, just with a little crimpy side, with a bit of sprinkle of caster sugar over the top of it. Again, same cookie dough. I have, you can see those ones there. I have just rolled the shortbread dough into balls, and I put them into my mini muffin tray, and then just put my thumb into it, and then just put a little scoop of jam where my thumbprint went, and baked it. Takes a bit longer than the other cookies because you've got more height and depth, but not too long. That's another cute little one. I have got the beautiful shortbreads that we just made a moment ago. So that's the pistachio and cranberry dipped in white chocolate. Now, the good thing with this as well is you can actually freeze that dough and come back and do the chocolate dipping later. So if your shortbread's frozen and you dip it into the chocolate, it'll set super quickly. But otherwise, I tend to have a baking tray, pop down some baking paper or a silicone mat, and then I put the cooling rack on the top. So when I dip it, I put it onto the cooling rack, and all the excess chocolate, rather than pooling around it like it would do on a tray, the excess just drops off below. So the finished product is a bit prettier. These cookies here are from the cranberry and pistachio cookie jar. Now, this is another cookie dough recipe. Actually, and while I'm there too, these are just little bits of gingerbread. Had leftover, I rolled it into a little log, and then just put them into little bite-sized pieces. So that's that one. That's really cute. That's a fabulous one to take to morning tea at work, if you're catching up in the park, if you're going to senior sits, if anywhere really, because everybody loves beautiful, freshly baked biscuits. Now, this jar here is, and these cookies and the ones that I just showed you, these are the cranberry and pistachio cookie jar. It's one of the gift recipes, and it is in cookie dough. So I've just made this here. Now, this jar is the 1 litre fluted jar from Kmart. They're $2 each. You need to have, for that recipe, a jar that is a minimum of 1 litre, because you do need to compress it. Now, the recipe on cookie dough steps you through the quantities, but yesterday I was a little bit tricky and actually pre-weighed them all into separate containers, and then I layered separately so that you've got staggered layers rather than all the oats, all the flour, all the cranberry. And that's just, I don't know, I think it looks prettier. So if you can see that there. Now, the top, the way I've decorated this, that is Christmas wrapping paper. And all I've done is I've traced around the Thermomix lid. It's a perfect size. And I have printed out some stickers, the labels. Now, these labels are from Avery. They sell them at Officeworks, and I'm assuming all big office suppliers. They come in packets that look like this. And there's all different types. Now, the program is actually built in to their website. So when you go into their print website, you just plug in the number, which is like this L7106 or whatever, for whichever style you've got. And it will bring up a whole heap of templates, pre-prettied templates. And there's actually a Christmas category, celebration category, business categories, anything and everything you can think of. You can customize the whole sheet, or you can customize each individual one. So if you wanted to change the name, if it was a gift, you could set up your template and then go in and change the name. You can add different pictures. With this one here, with the cookie dough, or with the cookie jar, I've made the labels. So you'll see here, I've made that label. Then here, I've actually popped in the instructions of what you need to do if you're lucky enough to get the cookie jar gifted to you. And I've also done a Thermomix instructions. So if you're giving it to somebody that's got a Thermomix, and I've also done a conventional instruction. And all I've done with that is just pop the sticker on the reverse side of this piece of paper. So you've got the cute little label here on the front, and then on the reverse side, stuck underneath, is the instructions on how to cook it. Now, all I've done here is I've used these trusty little poly bands. Look out, so they stretch huge. Pop that around the outside of the jar, put a ribbon, and then I've just got these cute little, they're called bamboo spoons. They're from one of the cheapy shops. I think they were like $2.95, and I got a 4-pack. So I think that's really, I'd be really stoked if I got that. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's really pretty.
That's a great idea. Your little tips and tricks are awesome, Jacki. And I love those cookies. That makes up the best cookies.
Those cookies are amazing. And if you don't want to use the cranberry and pistachio, our hubby loves them with just raisins in them as well, like adores them. So you can gift them as a cookie jar and people can make their own, or you can gift them in other ways. So I've just done simple wrapped with a ribbon. That's essentially very simple. Some of the extra chocolate that we had from the shortbreads, you just get a spoon and then just drizzle like this, let it drop from a high range, and just, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You just go with it. And we call these rustic, they look homemade, they'll taste amazing, and the receiver will love them. So that's another great little recipe on cookie dough. What else have I got here that I can show you before we move into the next one? I've made some biscotti. So if anybody hasn't made biscotti before, you basically make a little loaf cake, slice it up, rebake it. In cookie dough, really simple. I've just popped that into a little cello bag. Now I buy these cello bags in bulk from Lombard's, about 50 for about $4. They don't have an adhesive, these ones, so I've tied with a ribbon. I actually secure with one of these poly bands first and then tie a ribbon around it. I have also got some sealable bags which I've used for like this type of thing, that's got the little sticky bit on the back. So they're a little bit more expensive. I think you can get about 10 bags for about $3. But still, in the scheme of gift giving, it's probably not extraordinarily expensive. So that's really cute. And this little mug, it's just from Big W, $3. So, I mean, you could have a whole office, worth of gifts for, say, if you had 5 people, you could maybe $20 tops for everybody. So that's a nice little gift. While we're on the shortbread trail, this here is a savoury cookie box. So I've actually made the walnut and blue cheese shortbread from Cookie Dough. They are, I'm not sure if anybody tuned in to watch our spring picnics event on Friday night with my team, with my wonderful team. I made a grazing platter and I put these on there and they were divine. Now, if I just slide that, see that this box I think was $1.70 from that wholesale catering company. Now I'll take that all out. So I've got the beautiful walnut and blue cheese shortbreads, and I've made an apple and ginger paste, and these are a little caramelized red onion chutney. Now this recipe here, if you have got a TM6, you will have made it for sure because it's divine. If you haven't got a TM6, get one just for this recipe. It's amazing. Absolutely my favorite. It's delicious. Beautiful with cheese and crackers and whatever. I've also popped in, this was my, I converted this recipe from a website, Recipe Tin Eats, that I found. I really love the gourmet crackers. I really love the gourmet crackers that they have, you know, at the shops in the little boxes. And so I thought they're so expensive, I'm going to make my own, which I did, converted it in the recipe community. But Cookie Dough 3.0 means I'm going to be able to upload that to my Thermomix and use the guided cooking, just like we did with the other recipes earlier on. So I can't wait for that. Watch for Cookie Dough 3.0 TN6 users. It will be slightly more expensive, but it will be well worth it. And then I've just finished that off with a little cheese, like a little cheese knife, and a jar of apple and ginger paste. So those little jars, I think, were about maybe $4 or $5 for a 6-pack at one of the discounted stores. All right, quickly, because I know that we're running out of time. I don't want to keep you all from cooking dinner on a Sunday evening. I'm just going to make this edible cookie dough. So as you may or may not be aware, loads of eating cookie dough is very on trend. But I did not know that, and this is something that you learn every day, that you shouldn't eat raw flour because of E. coli, and it can make you very, very sick. So if you're making cookie dough, you need to cook your flour at 160 degrees. A couple of ways you can do it. Pop it in the oven with a thermometer, or throw it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes and it kills any bacteria in there. So that's a really good tip. Also, for edible cookie dough, you do not want raw egg. So this recipe has neither, which is fabulous. So I'm going to make it super quickly. And then I'll show you how I package it, show you a couple of other bits and pieces, and then I'm pretty much it. I have gone a little bit over time. I apologise for that. So back into my, back into my recipes, back to my creative collections. And now this recipe is actually an American recipe. Surprise, surprise. It is full of sugar. It is full of butter. Everything I've done today, it's not healthy. They're gifts, remember? So there is loads and loads of sugar. So here's the flour that I've heated up earlier. You can actually feel the texture is very different, but it's now safe to eat. Another feature of the Thermomix, this is an American recipe, it's in ounces. So my Thermi automatically recognizes that and transfers my scales to recognize the ounces, which is great because my conversion skills are poor at best. So we'll hit next. It wants me to do all of that. So now I'm back to the cooled flour. Now we add some light brown sugar, again, heaps of it, 7 ounces, which is huge. We're going to pop in some white sugar as well because there wasn't enough sugar before. That goes in. Some salt. The good thing with this is you can actually cook cookie dough balls through ice cream or eat it raw, like eat it with a spoon like my son does. you can actually bake it into other cookies. Okay, so we pop the sugar and everything in, and now we're going to mix it 20 seconds on speed 6.
So now the big question is, out of everything you've seen Jacki whip up tonight, what is burning and what is like on your mind that you have to make? What's inspired you the most to have a crack at that you haven't made before? Please pop in the chat box.
Rightio, so that's all mixed. Now I really should get shares in the butter farm today. April, can you help me out with that? Okay, so another 8 ounces of unsalted butter. And, well, it's for my son, so don't mind fingers. Of course, if this was a gift for somebody else, I'd be using all of my spatulas and everything and not getting butter underneath my fingernails. So pop that in. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Very rarely do I use actual teaspoons, so a bit of this, a bit of that. I just use the cap.
So do I.
It's just one less thing I have to worry about cleaning.
That's it.
Okay, and now I'm going to pop the lid back on, hit next, and that's going to go for 20 seconds on speed 5.
Awesome. Well, I might just read out some of the answers for you, Jax. So we've got Heather. She's really keen to make the Christmas domes. And sorry, my machine's jumping around. The bonbons. Sangria wants to make the bonbons. Love the Christmas trees in the jars. That's Kellyanne Wilson. Alice loves the red and green Christmas cookies, and they are a winner. Chris, really enjoyed watching you make the bonbons. Megan, Christmas tree domes. Mayma, everything, but we'll try the savory box for workmates. Fantastic. Galaxy, who I don't know who that is. Pretty cookie tins. Thanks, Jacki. And Sharon said never made a shortbread, so planning to do lots for this Christmas. Ruby said doggy treats, shortbread. And we're caught up. Yes, Jacki will share her recipes as long as you have registered for the event and she's got your email address. If you haven't registered, then pop your email address in the chat here or send a message to Jacki via Thermi-Central and she will be able to send that out to you once she's collated everything. Okay.
I'm going to stop that now. I can hear that it's pushing up. You know how it's funny how you can tell when you know your Thermomix is making different sounds. So that's it there. Okay, so now we're going to hit next, and I'm going to pop in some 4 ounces of chocolate chips. So I just use the Cadbury ones or Nestle, whichever's on special. And hit next on that one, and 2 tablespoons of milk, and we're going to hit next again, put the lid back on, and this time 30 seconds on reverse, speed 3.5. Rightio. And now it wants me to pop it in to scrape down the sides. Oh, I'll go again. Oh my goodness. This is, oh. This, you can smell, this is like walking into one of those cookie shops, you know, when you can smell them down the street. And another 30 seconds on reverse on 3.5.
Okay, Ruby's biscuits are done. Are you ready to show them, Ruby?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Oops, no, that's not what I meant to do. Whoa,
All done.
they look beautiful. Well done. You girls are awesome.
I
Well
wonder
done.
what, I think you girls have just cooked, do you still call it play lunch? Is it play lunch at school? You know, when you take your little snack? I don't know. It is called play lunch. So you've just saved mum and dad time going to the supermarket or cooking or baking. How awesome is that? Rightio, this is the edible cookie dough. So it's a little bit wetter than your standard cookie dough. And all we're going to do is pop that into the jar. Now I did a bit of a demo one. Oh, it smells divine. I did a demo jar the other day and I thought that it didn't have enough sugar. Oh. So sprinkle a couple of chocolate chips in each layer as well, just to make sure that whoever you're gifting this to will actually be in a sugar coma at the end. Now I'm using a really big jar. That's just because it's just easy for demonstration purposes rather than you guys watching me fill a little teeny tiny jar. But I wanted to show you how quick and simple. So I'm going to leave, that'll do for now, just for the purposes of showing everybody. So I pop the lid back on. And if I was to gift this, I would use a much smaller jar than that. So what I've done here, this is more of this fabric from Spotlight. It is the same size as the Thermomix lid. So I just pop that on the top. I get one of my little poly bands, just pop that over the top like that, simple. So that's automatic already, looking pretty kind of cute. All right, so next I am grabbing another poly band because once you get it on, it's a little bit tricky to get your finger underneath unless you've got really good fingernails. So I'm going to get another one and I'm just going to stick my spoon, you see that? Stick my spoon on the inside of it and pop that over the lid as well. So now I've got a cute little wooden spoon attached. And from there, I've just got one of these little Hessian bows from, I think from Big W. It's got a little twist tie on the back. And then you can just twist it around. Because you can pull your spoon out because it's on a poly band, you can just twist it on at the back. Like so. Tuck it in. And just like that, you have a cute little edible cookie
That's
jar
adorable.
to gift people. So, I mean, you could pop the ingredients on a little swing tag. You could do as much or as little to that as you like. That's so simple. So that recipe took about 2 minutes to make. It's loaded full of sugar, so it's not the cheapest, I guess, and butter. But if you know somebody, like teenagers love it. I would like gift this to like my niece and pop in like a $50 gift card or something to give as her Christmas gift because I know she loves edible cookie dough and I know she loves money. So that's a win-win, great gift. And the last thing I wanted to show you is we can't forget the pooches. So I've made some cute little dog biscuits. So there's lots of recipes around. This one is a recipe community and I think it's actually done by another Thermomix consultant. My aunt who's on today, Monica, thank you so much for sending through this recipe because it's a ripper. I actually pop parsley into the bowl first with this recipe, and I turbo it up. And then I do the oats and mill the oats afterwards, because parsley is quite good for like bad breath of dogs. It's also good for lots of other ailments. Sorry, I've got calls coming in here. So that's that. All I've done here is pop them into a little noodle box, which I bought in a huge sleeve from Lombard's. And I've just popped on a little label. My little label says, Santa Paws is coming to town. And then there's just a little picture of a dog and some treats. And inside, I have just a little cello pack full of little dog biscuits. Now, if you've got a son or a daughter that doesn't have children and you wanted to buy, you know, their puppy is their child, then you could gift something like this. This dog bowl I just purchased from Kmart. It's back to front. My apologies for that. This is a $4 dog bowl. And one of my friends, Tanya, so Handmade by Tanya, you can find her on Facebook. She actually does custom names on different items. So how cute's that to give to someone that loves their animals? That's pretty much it for me, guys. I have gone way over time. I'm really, really sorry about that. Or 15 minutes over. Are there any questions that anybody has? Any ideas? Anything you want to know more information about? No? All right. So I'll just quickly
comments, individual comments saying how wonderful it all looks, Jackie, and lots of thank yous.
I'm very pleased because, as I said, I'm not a professional. I'm a giver. I love making gifts. I love coming up with quirky things. I love Christmas and I love my Thermomix. So I'm not a professional, but I thought there's lots of people out there like me who like to give cute little gifts. And I thought if I can just offer some ideas on how to make them a little bit extra special so that the person that you're giving it to thinks you're amazing and feels really appreciated, then that's, I get enjoyment out of that. So but I will just quickly, just before we leave, just go over the offers again. So we've got 36 months interest free available at the moment. So you can have a TM6 on your bench for under $17 a week. The Thermomix is $23.59. And if you purchase this month or up until the 2nd of December or while stocks last, you can get the extra bowl for $29, which is amazing. It's an amazing deal. There is another offer that's on at the end until the end of this month, which is actually you can get the Thermomix cooking kit, toolkit, sorry, which I should have had one to show you, but it's got amazing scissors. The potato peeler is to die for. Knives, the quality is the same quality as the blades from the Thermomix. It's got an ice cream scoop and a few other bits and pieces in there. And there's a cookbook as well. So that's another really, and that's free. So you don't have to pay anything extra. But if I was you and you were thinking about getting a TM6, get the extra bowl. Trust me. Trust everybody that's purchased a TM6 from me that's watching there today, how much they would love to have an extra bowl. If this deal was on offer, they would have grabbed it. So that's it, guys. I hope I've given you some inspo. In the next few days, I will collate all of my resources and send them out. So you've got the recipes we used, locations, prices, all those sorts of bits and pieces, so you can start planning what you're going to be making for Christmas for everybody. Yeah, and a big thank you to Tess for being my wing woman today. Really appreciate it, and yeah, I wouldn't have made it through here without you. So
oh, you're so welcome.
You.
I did very little. I think more congratulations should go to Ruby and Evie.
Oh, the stars of the show.
Fantastic. Yeah. Super cute.
I think I might have to recruit them.
Yeah.
If you actually, there's one thing I didn't mention. If you were thinking that a TM6 is for you and you don't want to pay for it, then you could actually earn one. So you could come on board and do what I do. And you only need to sell, I think, 6. Tess will correct me if I'm wrong. And you get one of these. Oh,
Yes, on the Earn program, it's you need to sell 6 in 60 days. And the good news is you could be in our team. Doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah, I would love that. So if you would like to earn one, let me know. I'll put you in contact with Tess because she is like the ninja of all things Thermomix. And she's our team leader. She looks after us all. She's a great, fabulous team leader and a wonderful person and a wonderful asset to have on our team. And she looks after us all very, very well. So if that is of interest to you, please reach out. There is no pressure. If you are just curious, find out the information, make an informed decision. That's all we can ask. Same if you'd like to see this in person, if you'd like to book a cooking experience, either online or in person, I would much prefer people make an informed decision, work out how it can help you and work for your family and your situation before you invest the big dollars. So, but by all means, feel free to head to my Thermi-Central page and hit the buy button if you want one now too. So either way, I'm happy to look after you. And I just want to thank everybody for coming, and especially my little rock stars, Ruby and Evie, legends. Well done. I'm recruiting you too.
Well done, Jacki. It was awesome.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great Christmas. Bye.